in the life to become Buddha.
Okay.
Here, in this country, we say Buddha. So Buddha is a Sanskrit word which means old guy. The actual pronunciation is Buddha. Buddh,
Ah,
Buddha, Buddh. So Buddha and Buddha means awakened. And when we say Buddha, it means old guy.
I see. Oh, so there's two different. It's two different things.
Yeah, yeah. So, so two different, so awakened. So what is very important in the, I will also continue. So the first thing that maybe you pick up any Shanti mantra, let everyone be happy, let everyone be in the state of the well-being, let everyone be blessed, let none suffer from misery in this world. So the moment you wake up, first you sit down, eyes closed, and you are saying it. After saying, you contemplate and reflect. It will not take more than 5 minutes. And you contemplate and reflect. Contemplation, reflection means you're asking the question, why I'm saying let everyone be happy? Because happiness is their essential nature. Happiness is the essential nature of all the beings, including animals, insects, ants. Let everyone be in the state of well-being. So you are filtering the mind. It is known as creating an auspiciousness. In our country, we say you create a sacred space. You don't create anything, it is already there. You recognize it. Sacredness is everywhere. Sacredness is not there in the church or temple. It is with you, it is everywhere. It is even in the street, even when you are driving. It is everywhere. Do you recognize that sacredness? Say, for example, you're looking at a girl. Do you recognize the sacredness or do you recognize the sensuality? It depends on your perception. It has nothing to do with, oh, let me create a sacredness, let me burn the incense sticks, and let me move around, let me run the music. This is the highest form of the practice. So you ask yourself, and that will help you. They are known as the Shanti mantra. But our focus remains on the 10 stages in the life of the Buddha. I have just broken down so that you understand. So once we understand, so I'm preparing also a foundation for the next lesson from another text. This is going to be the fourth text I'm moving on. I hope that this will definitely bring some changes, provided you are doing the practice, provided you
Yeah.
follow a certain discipline. So, just a brief of it. That text has two titles. So, one title says in English it is Hammer the Delusion, and second title says Recognize and Realize the Real Self. So if I don't drop the delusion, I cannot realize the real self. When I realize the real self, I am full of an unconditional love. So the title basically, one title is unconditional love, second title is uh, second title is hammering the delusion. So that we are going to start from next week. It is very practical, pragmatic. What is practical? If you apply, then it is practical. If you don't apply, then it is not practical. Then it is not practical at all. We have to. Then you can challenge me that I did not have any changes. I did the practice. Couple of the things in the life of a seeker. The seeker is not concerned about whether the world changes or not, whether my dad has changed or not. A seeker's mind is looking at oneself, whether my response has changed or not. It is the same dad, it is the same mom, it is the same sibling, friend, foes. Did my response change? My perception about that person has changed, and it will only change if we continue the practice in the following manner. What I told you, listening and learning. And first thing that I told you, the creating an auspiciousness with a mantra. You wake up in the morning and your mind is now struggling, moving here and there. You have 5 different options. So that mind is an impure mind. And your intellect says, oh, I remember, let me do this, let me close my eyes and do for 5 minutes. You have already minimized that delusion, and then you do the practice. You have already removed it, and now you are ready to take over the life and do all your activities. Can it come on a single day? No, it will not happen on a single day, provided you are regular, you discipline yourself, and then it will happen. So as a seeker is concerned. Say you wake up in the morning and you have your mood swings and you are upset, you say bad morning. So what is the role of a seeker? You recognize that I am a seeker. The intellect says, no, let me do this practice first before I will say it is a bad morning. That level of awareness is required. Otherwise, this talk will prove as a gossip. Gossip means gossip has nothing to gain. So it changes. You are into anxiety for 3 hours and now it remains only for few minutes. What does that mean? Now when you follow that discipline, now you recognize and realize that I was struggling. I used to struggle for hours together, but now that time for the struggle has reduced. You are a seeker. Then only you are a seeker. You are talking to someone, verbal argument starts, and you take your mind back, you calm down. You allow the other person to continue and you say, sorry, I will talk to you sometime next week. Today I am in a hurry. Do you have that level of awareness, or you want to engage in unnecessary, unwanted arguments? That is the life of a seeker. You crush your ego. You are not interested in winning over the argument. Winning over the argument means I have an egoistic tendency. And then you come back home, return home, you contemplate and reflect, and you find, oh, this is the answer I will give. You see that is the way. Your mind is not now struggling. The moment it starts struggling, the intellect takes over. Intellect says, no, let me follow this. So there is a reduction of the impurities of the mind. You enjoy that calm and relaxed state throughout the day. Even during the day, if you get into anxiety, you say, okay, let me first take care of this. So you are a seeker inside in your profession, you are a seeker inside in your relationship, you are a seeker inside in the morning, you are a seeker before going to sleep. That seeker in you is going to succeed. If you don't remember and you don't follow, then you are not a seeker. Did you understand? It's a seeker. You're always a seeker. So earlier mind was thinking and busy in expecting appreciation. Now you don't seek an appreciation. You are self-oriented. Your intellect reminds you, the moment I seek lot of appreciation, my expectation will turn into frustration. So it's better to cool down. Remain self-oriented. I recognize myself that I am calm. Instead of expecting an appreciation from the other people. That level of awareness should be there. That level. Earlier, we were expecting praise from others, relations. Now you appreciate each and every one because we have to live in the world. So we find out the three good points in every one whom I meet, and I appreciate. I appreciate with emotions. Why? Because I have to remind my mind I have not to expect anything from the world. Why? Because it will help purify my mind. First few times it is very challenging. But Graz, why it is challenging? Because of her ego is always seeking something from the others. I am good to you, so why you are not good to me? Oh, so you are trying to be good to others and you have an expectation that others should also be good to you. So you have a hidden expectation, and that will frustrate you more. That will frustrate. I can go on, continue. So, what is the basic listening and learning? They talk and extract the principle. Fine, now this is the first principle. Okay, I have to apply a second. So, when you are writing in your mind, these are the few principles I need to apply. You have started contemplation and reflection. So, when you contemplate and reflect, your intellect will inspire you to follow the practice. So then what will happen? After a few weeks, you wake up in the morning and the first thing that you remember, let me sit down. Now you don't worry if it's a bad morning or good morning. Your mind is already inner oriented, self oriented. And you continue the journey practice. After an hour, you wake up and everything is so nice. Your perception has changed, the intellect. I want to tell you that mind is the worst master. Mind is the best slave.
Mm.
Who makes the mind slave? Right knowledge. From where the right knowledge comes? From the intellect. And if mind is the master, that what exactly you explained to me, you were struggling, and then what happened? You landed up doing nothing. Why? Your intellect was overpowered by the mind. Mind is the worst master. And it is the most beautiful slave. Most beautiful slave. So, if I don't make the mind as a slave, then forget about this journey of the spirituality. 60% it is all about making the mind slave, means now the mind is pure. Now what the intellect, what the knowledge says, mind follows. So when the mind follows, it means what? The knowledge now will be settled in the intellect and in your life. And that knowledge, if it is settled, you will recognize and realize the real self. I'm making it in a simple way. So now let us talk about these 10 stages in the life of the Buddha. Or I have said that if I follow these 10 stages in my life, I will become also the Buddha. So we have to understand the first stage, the sheltered prince. It was a golden cage. I believe you remember I told you that his father created a Las Vegas in a sin city in the kingdom to have all kinds of pleasure, endless pleasure, shielded from the suffering. That is the first stage. like a bird in a golden cage. After all, it is a cage, right? It's a golden cage. I'm just, limited by those players. I'm unaware of what is beyond that pleasure. What is beyond the pleasure is the real self. So I have to contemplate and reflect what are the golden cases I have in my life. I don't have any problem as far as finances is concerned, the home is concerned, the car is concerned, the society is concerned, and that is why my mind is crazy. Mind should be disciplined when I have everything. So we are also living in a sheltered like a prince. We are living a life of the prince. We have forgetfulness. Yes, it will not work. That is the first stage. That is the action to make a list of pain points. You have to make a list of pain points and struggle anxiety for about 4 to 8 weeks. You have to write down, oh, I did not get this food and I was upset. Oh, let me have another food. That is also a golden case because I can avail that food. I have enough money. It does not mean that I should get upset if I don't get a food of my choice. It's also a golden case. You have to recognize in that way. So when you recognize, oh, this is what is happening, oh, it means the mind is seeking the comfort zone. I have to identify the root causes. What are the root causes? It may be a desire, expectation, hesitation, reaction, pride, delusion. Now I have recognized these are my pain points and I have to work on it. I have to work on it. I have to self-discipline. I already told you. First thing, oh, next week I will just give you the entire session that this is what you should be doing in this way. So you do it for about 4 to 5 weeks and then follow your own routine. So you have to commit to a self-reflection daily. If you don't commit to the self-reflection, the mind continues to be the master. And when the mind continues to be the master, no chance. It is the worst master. You meet a beautiful girl, the mind is full of sensuality. The girl also approaches you with the same tone, same thing. And after half an hour, she says, get lost. Before you get frustrated, another girl approaches, no, come and calm down. And then she is like this. And now you are moving into the same kind of sensuality with another girl. That is meaning that you are living in a golden cage. I gave you a practical example.
When you say sensuality, what do you mean by that?
Sensuality is simply means that I have lot of expectations, maybe at the physical level, emotional level, mental level from the other person. So here the sensuality means that my object of the senses, I'm attracted to the object of senses. So that girl is an object of my eye, object of my touch, object of my ear. So that is basically I define the sensuality. I don't define the sensuality always seeking the sexual gratification. I'm attracted, just attracted because of attachment, because of likes and dislikes.
So if I look at a girl and I feel physical attraction, is that ignorance?
Obviously, obviously. I get attracted to anything with a sense of attachment or attraction because I like. You are not attracted to a thing, an object, or a person you don't like. So, from where this liking has come? This liking and disliking is a part of non thinking. I bring my intellect and I say, I'm attracted to this. But why? Let me ask myself, do I need something from her? You will get an answer.
Mm.
You will always get an answer. I'm not going to say anything. Anything
I see.
you are attracted to a phone, so you want to possess the phone because you find the pleasure. You want to eat some food, you like a particular food, you like, that means you are attracted. You are attracted means
Mm.
that you are seeking a pleasure from the food. So I'm
Can
not aware. Here the mind is the worst master. Mind says, okay, get attracted. Then what? Get attracted? Yes, wait for a frustration.
can't you, like with certain objects like food or whatever, are you able, is it possible to like something without an attachment?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
How simple it is. You say, for example, you like pasta. Is pasta available? Yes. You eat it and finished. You like pasta. Second day. Pasta is not available. Now, because of your attachment and attraction, the mind is causing the anxiety. What the heck, I cannot eat anything because pasta is not there. That is the frustration.
I see.
So, liking without attachment, disliking without detachment is possible.
Yeah.
You are sitting comfortably. You like to sit comfortable while listening to me. I want to sit comfortable while listening, while talking. I like it. So I like it, but it has nothing to do with any form of attachment and attraction.
Sure.
So remember, that's a good question that you asked. Now, now I have to recognize that golden case. So now the second stage in the life of the Buddha, the four sides really break through. Four sides I told you, a sick guy, a dead person, a dead person, and a old guy, and a monk. He has four sides. The first three sides I have to recognize in my life. I avoid, I, I ask the mind to forget. I look at the old guy and he is walking with a difficulty, and I say, oh, he's an old guy. I will also become old. Is this the way life is? I will become old and then I will die. Or should I find my real nature? So even when I become sick, I have to recognize sickness, health, pressure, tiredness in the body, relaxation, pain, pleasure, duality is always there with the body. That is why we say this body is suffering. I have to recognize. So I have to transcend the body to suffering. What is the way? And that is what the Buddha did in the second stage. He could contemplate and reflect simultaneously. While watching, while seeing, he could see himself as an old guy, as a dead guy, as a sick guy. So when you see your reflection, your intellect is so powerful, the mind that is the worst master seeking the pleasure of all the kinds, mind will stop being the master. And then you see the ray of light, Eastern wisdom, right? Here in your case, it is Eastern wisdom. He saw the monk. What he's doing is he's finding the purpose of life. Oh, that's what I need to do. and it is finished. Can I be like a Buddha, that I restrict, I drop all the comfort zone in my life from today, and I get absorbed into the meditation, start searching, listening, and learning, reflecting on it from the today itself? Then you are a Buddha. But I have given you a grace of 8 weeks. Do you see that? So he had that determination. Where the determination is located in the intellect, where the fluctuation is located in the mind. Oh no, if I'm not getting a pleasure from you, I will get a pleasure from the fluctuation. But the mind is not thinking that why, after all, I'm getting a pleasure, is the pleasure there? It only the intellect will think and find out. The pleasure is not the property of any object, any word, any person in the world. It may be Miss Universe or Miss America. Do you see that?
It's never there.
So I have to remind my mind in a real life situation it is not there. So when I cannot remind, it means the mind is impure. My intellect is not working. The knowledge will not stay. That is what I have been saying you. That is why we have to follow a kind of self-discipline. Think. Think how logical and how rational. So now, in case of...
What about people that like they say they've been happily married for like 50 years? That always makes you laugh because like it's
Yeah.
I don't know if I believe that.
Yeah. I think that is another question. Oh, you are married for 50 years. Okay. Are you happy? Okay, I have to pull on. Now, I have become weaker, so I have to pull on. It is better to have a known than anyone unknown. So I have lot of complaints inside that I continue, but I don't express it. Because the people say with a praise and appreciation, oh, you are married for 50 years. What a crazy, what a crazy stuff. They want to say what is a crazy thing, but they don't say, oh, okay, they appreciate. So I boost my ego, but internal frustration is there. Now see that second stage is very crucial. That I have seen the four sides, three sides which helps me to the delusion, also recognize that this world is suffering, because my body is suffering, because my body is old, because this body is going to die, leave one day. And so what is the goal? Goal is to be a monk. So monk, be a monk inside, follow the discipline, follow what the right knowledge of the Eastern wisdom says. You need not to run away from your house. So that is a great departure. That is the third stage of the Buddha. Why he did the departure? Because his dad was crazy. Dad will not leave him. Dad already forced and created a Las Vegas and Sin City in the kingdom. He will not allow him. So he recognized that also. Then he was forced to marry. He got married. He had a kid. And then he left in the midnight. So leaving the midnight means that now I have dropped all my comfort zone. I have asked my mind, from today you have to be a slave, you have not to be my master. That is the third stage, where the Buddha saw his wife, his son sleeping in the midnight, and he left the kingdom. He left the kingdom because of his dad. And he realized that he cannot do any practice. He cannot follow the self-discipline. His dad is going to throw him into a pleasure. Here we have an opportunity, we have a choice. We are living in a free democratic country. We have a freedom to choose, and we are not choosing. We are not choosing. By the way, India is also fully democratic. We also have the same freedom. It both are good, great countries. So what? So you have not to see that Siddhartha, his earlier name, abundance, his royal life. It was a decision coming from reflection, from a realization that I have entered into all kinds of pleasure and that have not given me any satisfaction. I have realized the pleasure is not the property of any object, anything, any place, any event outside. Hence, I have to find out. And then he also recognized that his dad is not going to allow him to become a monk in the kingdom. So he has to leave the kingdom. What it shows? So there is a question. I have to find out what aspects of my life I am clinging to out of comfort or out of fear. I have to analyze. I have to find out. He was fearless. He said, I will leave everything. I have done. This is my final decision. He did not take any gold and jewelry and the coins to maintain his life. Our mind starts thinking in that way in the modern society. So the basic message is that where is my clinging? I have to analyze why I'm clinging to this kind of a life. Why don't I have a kind of a self-discipline? When the Eastern wisdom is saying that I have to follow a certain day, why I'm not following? Where is the clinging? Where is the fear? Where is the frustration? That is where the third step will help us to have a great departure from the mind acting as a master. We have to make it a slave. The mind should not act as a master. If the mind is acting as a master, my dear friend, then it will create a struggle and anxiety and a frustration and a fear and a duality and a conflict and a delusion every day. You cannot escape that. So that is the third. The fourth, you can say now, he has entered into the monastic life, or you can say he has entered into the life of yoga or life of austerity under a teacher. So he found the teacher. Teacher said, you have to sleep on the floor. Siddhartha said, I will do it. But will I be awakened? Yes. Then you have to take one meal a day. Do you agree? Yes, I will do. Remember, you are a prince. You have been taking 4 meals a day. Will you do it? Yes. Sleep on the floor? Yes. Eating one meals? Yes. Doing the practice for a couple of hours every day? Yes. Doing service to me. Service to the teacher means that you are getting rid of your ego. You minimize, you reduce your egoistic tendencies.
Who is teacher?
I don't remember the name of the first teacher, but I remember the name of the second teacher is Alar Kala, who taught him the mindfulness. So now see that your destiny, when your intellect is ready to follow the path of the self-discovery which he decided, he left the kingdom. So what happens? Your past impressions full of all kinds of pleasure for 17 and 18 years in the present life. So he has to undergo an extreme kind of an austerity. So he found the first teacher like this. So that existence helps you from where the grace of the existence starts coming. You will not notice, but it will start coming. You will say that I have chosen this life. Siddhartha may say that he has chosen his life. In later years, Siddhartha said, my first teacher was a great, who taught me how to get rid of the attachment, how to get rid of the delusion, even though the first teacher did not teach him mindfulness. But he was extremely grateful. He said he laid the strong foundation. So, ascetic life, or you can say the austerity, it is nothing but a self discipline. There are two kinds of self discipline. One is the one that the intellect should create an agenda for a regular practice in the morning and evening and make sure that you follow it. This is self discipline number one. I name it as tapa. It is known as the tapa. So you are breaking slowly, gradually, uh, your comfort zone, which is always seeking the pleasure, which falls into the delusion. Second self discipline is known as endurance. What is endurance and emotional poise? Say, for example, you become sick. It is not in your hand. You take the help of the doctor, doctor prescribes you some medication, you take it. But the suffering caused by the sickness is not taken by the mind. You continue to keep your mind relaxed. You endure it. These two disciplines is required to purify the mind. If we don't have these two disciplines, you you go to even the Buddha comes before you, you will remain the same. You will not change. The second is that you say so you sometime you have a mosquito bite and bite is very strong. Intellect and the mind. The role of the mind is to make that small bite is a big issue. Intellect says, "Come down, let me endure it. That has to happen. I did not invite it. I have taken the best treatment. Now mind should not, you should not be agitated." So every day we will find these events. Somebody will insult you, somebody will argue unnecessarily. So I have to maintain that level of endurance in my life. For one is the discipline, number one. This is the discipline number two. This is what is required. This is what he learned after a couple of years with the first master. So now you see the breakthrough. Now, the fifth stage of his life, he was doing all these practices. So you follow the discipline 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, 4 weeks, 8 weeks, and now it has become your part of the life. My master used to say that does this practice is less important than going to the restroom? And you don't recognize it. He just fired one day at me. He said, "What do you think? You have an urge and you go to the restroom. Don't you have an urge to follow a discipline?" I looked at him and I said, "That's a worth the point." And Master, I will definitely follow it from today. Do you promise me? Yes, I promise you. And now it has been more than 30 years. I just, again, wake up at 4, whether it is a Sunday or Saturday. Oh, it's a weekend, let us continue to sleep. That is, the mind has become the master.
Yeah.
Why I should sleep? Let me sit down on weekend, at 4 and let me do more practice. Let me contemplate and reflect more. Why should I live in ignorance and delusion? Why shouldn't I live in wisdom? So that idea, if it strucks to your intellect and the intellect guides the mind will drop the impurities and the delusion and the comfort zone. You will be able to rise in awareness When that rise in awareness, then what happened? What will happen? Yes, I would explain in a different way. That would help you to understand. So the fifth, he was sitting under a tree. I told you the story. And after doing all the practices, he was sitting under a tree in the monastery of his first master. And he said that I experienced the calmness in me. And I was doing so hard practices where my mind was agitated. So is it worth to do all those strong practices which I have already done for a couple of years? No. So revelation takes place. The existence helps you. So that is why the Buddhism is known as the middle path. It is known as the middle path in between the indulgence and the denial. If the denial causes any reaction, you are not following a discipline. If there is a lot of indulgence and you forget yourself in indulgence, that too is you are not following the path. So that is what he recognized, and that is what we need to recognize. No, I will not eat food because I'm hungry, it is very late. First, I will do meditation and then I will eat food. Then you are crazy. Because in meditation, your hunger will constantly trouble you. Eat something, maybe light, and practice meditation. That is known as the middle path. No, I'm totally tired, so I cannot do the practice. No, practice first relaxation. Calm down, take a bath, then sit down. That is known as the middle path. Otherwise, we have mind has 1 million excuses why I have not done today. I don't leave any chance for the mind. When you don't leave a chance for the mind, I can bet you, my friend, you will definitely declare that you are totally relaxed throughout the day. You can endure some form of anxiety and the fear. Now tell me the next step in this path. That level of awareness comes, very strong determination takes over you. That is the fifth one. What is the sixth one? So now, sixth one, you can say that. So that Alar Kalam was passing through that forest, and he saw the Buddha seems to be different than other five of his friends, and so he intuitively recognized that now he is ready. He is a great seeker, and he needs only one session of practice of meditation. And because he has taken the desert from the girl and he was not listening now to the teacher because he found the balance. So the Alar Kalam went to the previous master and asked him that, he is worthless for you. So can you give this student to me? I don't have anyone. But that Alar Kalam was enlightened. So master said, oh, take him away. He doesn't follow the discipline. And then he went to under a tree and then he practiced meditation. He got enlightenment. So now see the first step, pleasure. He experienced all kinds of pleasure. He recognized that pleasure is not the property of anything, which he contemplated and moved into the second stage. The third stage, he recognized that this place, kingdom, is not the right place to do the practice. Never say that he left the kingdom, he left all the millions of dollars. No, that is not the case. Whether you leave a penny or $1 million, what's the difference? There is no difference. Your attitude has changed. So people, just try to make Buddha in a different way, in a wrong way. And then in the fourth way, he went into that austerity or the penance, self-discipline. In the fifth stage, he got that enlightenment. He thanked his master. He thanked his master. So in the seventh stage, you know, when you are with a master in a master and a teacher, master and a seeker discipline and a tradition, once you have that awakening, you will express that to the teacher first. Because if you express this to your friend or to your dad, they will say this guy has become crazy. Who had
Yeah.
taught you? Oh, beer guy taught me. Let me go there and teach him a good lesson. Because they are already absorbed in all kinds of pleasures, so they have never seen this kind of a life. So the seeker reaching to that state first expresses his state to the teacher, and the teacher recognizes, yes, you are into that state. Now, this is the way you have to communicate in the world. So, what happened? So, in the seventh stage, he has already become a Buddha. He went to the friends, he said, come and follow me. And then he gave the Four Noble Truths, which became the famous. So he formatted it, he worked on it for a couple of years before he declared that this is the Four Noble Path. It does not come in a single day. It never happens with any master. Rarely it happens. And then the eighth, he recognized that, he recognized the great, he was grateful to his parents, to his wife, to his kid, to other the servants in the kingdom, that he never forget. So that is why he went to the kingdom, asking his dad and his wife and his mom and his son to follow me, to show you the path of permanent happiness. They did not turn. So he did his job. He did his job. He did his duty. That is also very important. And in the ninth stage, then what he did? He started teaching. People started flocking around him. He built a monastery. Then in the monastery, then you should have some kind of a self-discipline. You should have some kind of a book. You have certain principles of teaching. So he developed the Eightfold Noble Path.
That's called Buddhism.
Yeah, that is called Buddhism. Eightfold Noble Path. There is a Four Noble Truth, and then there is the Eightfold Noble Path, and
Where
which is nothing but it is all about the Eastern wisdom.
I was going to ask you, what's the difference between what we talk about and then what Buddhism is? Because this isn't Buddhism, right? It's not Buddhism.
Buddhism took everything from the Eastern wisdom, which was already existing. So
Oh,
prior to the Buddhism, who taught him? The masters belong to the Eastern wisdom.
I see. Did he like?
He
Is there
gave it.
something in Buddhism that
No,
is not
no, no,
right?
no, no, no. Everything
Oh,
is right. He gave a new expression.
okay.
Knowledge is always one. We have 3,000 texts. We have 3,000 masters. Every master explained the same truth differently.
Mm.
Why? There are two reasons. One reason, personal evolution of a master, how he evolved, in what condition he was born and brought up. So those impressions highlights the teaching. And second is what? Second is temperament of the seekers he receives, temperament of the student he receives. But then there are also there are great teachers who are versatile. So I'm teaching Gita to one group of people. No, one student like you, private student, totally dedicated. He is totally dedicated to Gita. You know when in what condition he is learning Gita? He has already filed a bankruptcy and he is undergoing a very tough time. And he is so much committed and dedicated to the Gita. He said, I know that you already know that I have lot of challenges. He changed he sold his house, he moved to another rented house. He has two or three kids. He has to maintain that all, but still, when he meets me, he is calm and relaxed. He always said it is the Gita which made me like this in spite of all these problems. He was running a business almost for 10 to $15 million a year and filing bankruptcy, undergoing that hell because he has
Mm.
to pay me. So I also receive the information notices of the bankruptcy. That is one. Beautiful. I teach another who is, I'm teaching totally something different, another teaching, because of her temperament is different. She wants a tough discipline. So I'm guiding you with the simple practices. Why? Because your intellect is refined and highly developed. So it takes a simple practices to follow. But that lady needs a very tough, hard practices to follow. So I'm teaching the same thing, but because of the temperament of the different people. One group, which uh, Jerry and the David are there, so they have already reached to a higher level of understanding. Or you can say the Saturday's teaching is the highest level of teaching.
Mm.
So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and you and others, at least there are three groups, including you, I'm teaching, I'm focusing on this aspect.
Mm.
So once you are aware of the entire spectrum of Eastern wisdom, so you see that how beautifully I mixed the Buddha journey into a lesson.
Yeah.
Into a lesson. So I'm not going to teach you the Eightfold Noble Path or Four Noble Truths. I will address that in a different way, which will suit you. So then what happened in the 10th stage? So he has already, once he started spreading his teaching, now he made many teachers, thousands of the teachers. He made even King the teacher of the Buddhism because he taught almost, I would believe, and I have reason to say that when Buddha was teaching to the Indians in India, the population was hardly maybe 4 or 5 million. And he taught for more than 45 years. He visited every village in 45 years. He addressed to almost everyone couple of times.
Mm.
That was his final years of his living. And that is how he became very famous in India. But then gradually other masters came up. Another master presented the same teaching and provided in a different way, like Shankaracharya, Vivekananda, who visited United States, and other masters. So they have a very forceful presentation, forceful teaching. So in that forceful teaching and communication with these great masters, the Buddhism was short of wiped out from India. So it remained present in China, Japan, and Southeast Asian countries, and Burma and Sri Lanka. Because every 50 years, I can count on, every 50 years you have one such great master who influences, whose influence is tremendous because of this expression, because they express the same thing, same principle, but totally in a different way.
Mm.
And that keeps the tradition continued. That is that is what we say. Tradition continues. Tradition does not continue that if you wear the orange colored clothes and barred hair. No, that is outer level. Internally, that knowledge continues.
Are monks Buddhists, or what is a monk?
Yeah, monk. Even the Buddhist monks, and we have 10 different
Mm.
order of monks.
Mm.
So also we have 10 different order of monks. Why they are different order of monks? Every order were given a responsibility to promote and teach from only this group of the text. Second
Mm.
order of the monk are given a specific group of the text. 10 order of the monks, because literature is huge. You have more than 3,000 texts. So the 10 order of the monks were given the different categories.
Mm.
But my master used to send me to other masters. He said, go there, spend some time, learn from them. What you are learning from me, that is okay. So he used to send us to the different traditional masters, which gave me a wider perspective of understanding, of learning, and realization.
Mm.
So, so that order of monks which my master belongs, so they are basically versatile. They have reached to that pinnacle. They understand all the sects, including the Buddhism, including the Jainism. There are many other order. So it means once we have a holistic understanding, we know instantly what a seeker wants. Seeker may not know what he wants, but we know because of your attitude, because of your behavior, because of your responses from the teaching, we can find out, oh, this is much better. This should be the
Mm.
teaching. So internally, we also continue to do lot of experimentation. It is not a forced learning. No, you have to follow only the Buddhist part. You have to follow only this. That is why I told you that this is the fourth text I'm going to take.
Do you have somebody that you still work with, or that you like to listen to or read, or no?
I did not understand your question.
Like, do you have master that you still like listen to or read or work with, or are you just teaching now?
Now only teaching because I have well versed with a certain group of literature. So what I
Hmm.
normally do that I pick up two texts for a month. So every day I used to go through that text. And after reading those verses, I sit down, I contemplate and reflect. After contemplation and reflection, I write it down. What is the message? Then I write it down, then what is the other ways to convey the message? And that is all. That means that very text becomes my teacher because it is written by one master.
Hmm.
So you can reveal that knowledge from there. But if I don't reveal that knowledge, I have two masters in India with whom we normally meet online, maybe 4 and 5 times a month. Then we discuss. So he talks about he is very senior to me, and he has a higher state than me. So it is always good to be with someone who is much higher than you.
Mm. Yeah.
So I pick up. There are two or three. There earlier there were six, but now it is only three because those